Hey guys, welcome back to Katawa Shoujo. I'm back from my 3-video long break. Yes, only 3 videos have been posted since I've posted the other one. And technically, as of right now, the last Katawa Shoujo video I did was yesterday when it was posted. So yeah, it was only like a 2-day break because I recorded that video the day before. But still. I found something out. I come over to extras, and then there's all this. It has the jukebox, which shows you like all the songs you have unlocked, I guess, or like that played. So far, I'm missing like I think 1 song. Wait, 3 songs. Okay, 4, 5. Okay, so 5 songs. 5 songs have not been played, and then the gallery, which just shows all the CGs that has been shown in the game so far, and there's a lot of CGs. The library. This is one thing I need to do. Look, this tells you all the endings. There's Emi, Hanako, Lily, Rin, and Shizune. Lily is like that because I'm doing her ending. And I come down, and there's this much left. There's this much of her ending left. That's quite a bit. It's quite a lot. Completion is 23. I believe that just means the completion of like the entire game, which I need to complete every ending there to, have the full game completed. The cinema shows like the animations that played. So far there's this much right here. But yeah, I guess we should just get right into the game, so let's load the game up. After a chaotic dash to the station and finding our seats in the otherwise deserted carriage, we promptly crashed. Looking at the time, close to midnight, it's little surprised that few take this particular train. Hanako is fast asleep on Lily's shoulders, and I can only barely muster the energy to stay awake. The excitement we had a while ago probably didn't help. I'd probably be pretty depressed about going back to school if my brain was actually working. As it is, though, the sight of the nighttime scenery scrolling by is surprisingly beautiful. My loud yawn is nearly wholly drowned out by the clacking of the train tracks and the old carriages rattling. So tired. And whose fault is that, Hisao? She really does toe the line between insulting and assuming sometimes, though I managed to write out a weary smile. I look back out the window, my reflection just visible on the clear pane. Truth be told, she's perfectly correct. If it weren't for that little interlude a few hours ago, both of us would have a lot more energy. On top of that, we both had to take another bath, very nearly making us late for the train's departure. Yeah, it was mine. Still, getting into a bath with a guy is a dangerous thing to do. Evidently. Sorry, I guess I kind of took advantage of the situation back there. Well, I didn't exactly hate it. As she trails off, I look back at her. My eyes narrow as I see her slightly reddened cheeks and small grin. Her mind obviously elsewhere. Say it. I knew the possibility of it happening was there. Okay. I knew it. You're just as dirty-minded as I am. She quickly coughs into her free hand, making her disapproval crystal clear. That's a rather crude way of putting it. Oh, and you would suggest I merely have a healthy whatever. So in other words, dirty-minded. Almost seeming to sense the moment, Hanako mumbles quietly as she furrows her brow in Lily's lap. Lily's look of disapproval melts away as she gently smiles and strokes her hand on Hanako's long, dark hair. All I can do is watch and smile. If someone were to ask me when I fell in love with her, I wouldn't be able to answer. The best I'd be able to come up with is, it just happened at some point, but I didn't realize it. If someone were to ask me why I loved her, though, then I could answer much more easily. You really love Hanako, don't you? She gives a deep nod, smiling warmly. It's a pity we have to return to school. She seems to relax so much while we were all away. Okay, talk about Hanako. That's that. Okay, let me cross that off my list. Okay, there's still one more choice left. But even if I reach that choice in this video, there's probably still gonna be like a butt ton of stuff left over, just without any choices, and I'll just have a lot of reading to do. Yeah. I wouldn't worry. Hanako's been gaining confidence thanks to you. At least for as long as I've known you two. She gives a self-depreciating sigh. I think I merely provided her with company and support. Since she came to know you, she's opened up much more, even to me. I get the feeling she's understanding her influence on Hanako, especially given that before the two came to know each other, Hanako had no friends to speak of. The friends I'd had in my previous school fulfilled what I'd have expected of them. For the most part, simply being there for idle chatter. But in Hanako and Lily, there really feels to be more to their relationship. A part of me envies it, but another can't ignore the fact that the school year will eventually end. After graduation, I really have no idea what Hanako will do. This trip has shown me just how much we've all come to depend on one another. Indeed, we're all going to have to make decisions. Maybe that's the reason why, despite our return to school also heralding a return to the normalcy of everyday life, I can't help feeling a little restless. On the bright side, it won't take long for the summer holidays to arrive after our exams are finished. We could come back here during the summer holidays if you want. For a moment, she thinks on the notion. Her face becomes somewhat distant. I can only guess she's reflecting on all that's happened here. That would be good, I think. I nod approvingly, smiling at her. Summer together with Lily. This idea seems like the perfect way to spend our holiday. Yep. Oh. I could have finished that whole part in like the last video. I don't know why I didn't. Well, I guess maybe I do. It's a 2-hour long video, so yeah, it would have been a bit more longer. This so far it's 8 minutes, just an extra 8 minutes. That's it. Shizune's singing goes unnoticed, by the moping Misha, earning her a quick poke in the shoulder. It takes barely a moment for Misha to get back into form. Oh, and so what did you do over the weekend, Hiki-chan? Just took a trip up north with Lily and Hanako. It was pretty nice. I see both of them narrowing their eyes at me, their minds surely in the gutter. The fact that their suspicions are founded makes the situation all the more awkward. We just studied and went sightseeing, and there's nothing more to it. After such a flagrant lie, I realized that it may not have been the best step, considering Shizune's connections and her total lack of restraint when it comes to questioning someone she suspects of telling untruths. I really have no idea of how she's going to take it, but she'll find out eventually anyway. It isn't as if it's really her business whom I date in any case. And yes, Lily and I are going out now. While Misha receives the news with an enthusiastic smile, Shizune gives a look of mild surprise, somewhat masked by her cool demeanor. Okay. Whoever you date is your business. I hope you two go well together. Misha gives a look that says this is the most quarter I could possibly receive on the matter. It's all I wanted, really. After she says this, though, Shizune begins to sign something else, and then stops herself and shakes her head at Misha to prevent her from translating. Normally, I'd think this strange enough, but the awkwardly casual wave Shizune gives before walking off with Misha in tow adds to my confusion. Shizune is hardly the kind of person to pull a punch or communicate without forethought. I shrug my shoulders at the duo's odd behavior and look towards Hanako's desk, but see that her chair is empty. She was definitely here before, so I guess she just didn't feel like waiting. I'll go grab some food alone then. Walking down the hallway to the usual room that's become a second home to 3 students in particular, I mournfully look down at the plastic-wrapped salad roll and juice box in my hand. The cafeteria's food really is unappetizing. Maybe I'll consider this my penance for my recent indiscretions. Opening the door, I notice one less figure than I expected. It's strange. Despite having known Lily for months, I can't help thinking back to the very first time I opened this door and saw her silently sitting in the sunlight. Just as she did then, she slowly opens her eyes, unmoving as they are, and calmly addressed me. "Good morning, Hisao." It's afternoon, I think. Has Hanako been around? She skittered out of the classroom without me even noticing. Lily cradles her cheek thoughtfully as I take a seat, my bag taking its place against the closest leg of the table, and my unsatisfying meal neatly set out in front of me. She did appear for a time. She said she had to study for the upcoming exams and left for the library. We find ourselves not entirely believing her words. Well, at least her intentions are in the right place. She's sweet, but she needn't go this far to let us have our space. I might talk to her about it sometime. Probably for the best. For a while, we quietly eat our meals, Lily elegantly nibbling on her sandwiches and sipping her tea, as I eat what tastes like a garden sandwich in dried dough. The atmosphere feels slightly strained, neither of us knowing quite what to say to each other now that our small talk has dried up. Eventually, we both finish our foods with no conversation forthcoming. For quite some time, eventually, though, Lily's soft voice breaks the silence. "A lot happened back there, didn't it?" Again, silence with both our minds on the same topic, though. I think I have my feelings on that sorted out. I know, everything happened in kind of a hurry, but I don't regret anything that happened in Hokkaido. Not one thing. Hisao. Slightly tense, I take her hand in mine. Have to feel her, have to settle my own nerves. I stand by my word back there, Lily. I love you and won't leave you. I only wish for you to think the same. She silently reflects for a long time, which feels like an eternity. Her reverie comes to an end as she takes one hand from mine, placing it over them as she leans her body forward and stands out of her chair. After a moment's hesitation, her face slightly pensive, her lips meet mine for a brief moment. My mind feels as if it briefly stopped at the moment, barely registered. This is me actually. My mind feels as if it briefly stopped at the moment, barely registering Lily sitting back in her chair and smiling back at me with ever so slightly reddened cheeks. Hearing that makes me very happy, Sal. I would be glad to stay with you. Maybe it would be good to slow things down a bit. Compared to before, we still have school after all and our exams. She gives a mischievous giggle which proves to be contagious. That might be a good idea indeed. Do you think you'll fare well in your exams? It's only one day until they arrive, as you say. I probably should have studied more, but I think I've got a good enough head to manage. That said, I had to bat off Misha and Shizune is your class as worried about the exams as mine? She lets out an exasperated sigh, all but confirming it. I'm thankful for the atmosphere becoming a little lighter. I think so. I've already been asked for help by 2 of my classmates, and they'll no doubt be more. Think of it as your first training being a teacher, maybe. That's probably a good way to think of it. Oh, on that note, how are you feeling in your English studies? I remember it was far from your strongest subject, and the few sentences you memorized to speak to my mother aren't likely to help. Damn right on the mark. You got me. If you don't mind, would you be able to possibly help in that regard, please? It would be my pleasure to help you, Hisao, but in exchange, she lowers her eyebrow at me, her nature tentatively coming to the fore. No problem at all. You'd probably be better off with some help in your studies, though. She beams a smile at me. One of girlish victory that nearly makes me blush. I get the feeling she's aware of how to use her face to twist my judgment. So I should probably be more on guard. Here and now, though, a study group seems like an expedient way for both of us to shore up our more lacking skills. The school bell rings out, reminding us that time isn't going to stand still. Huh? Lunchtime's over already? It sure is easy to lose track of the time here. This room is so far from the other clubs and activities. Not much sound can reach us. That's probably most of the reason why. A place far from all the others, alone with just one person whom she loves. As Lily stands and collects her bag and cane, my thoughts are cast back to the time we spent in Hokkaido. Before I go, Akari and I are having a homecoming party in my room tomorrow. Will you be able to come? And back again. My schedule is free, so I should be able to make enough room in my study time to make it. Good to hear, Hisao. For what is worth, I'm glad you're back from Scotland. Once exams are over, we should have more time to ourselves. Holidays start soon after tomorrow, or soon after too. Okay. We can start the holidays with Tanabata then, just as we promised at the school festival. She brings her hand to her cheek and laughs slightly nervously, recalling the events as I silently thank myself for managing to remember. It seems odd to see her react in such a way, though. It's not like I never saw her embarrassed, but I'd better be going. Farewell, Hisao. Bye. Whether it's out of habit or just a stubborn desire for one small fragment of normality, I hold my hand up in farewell just as I always do. At least I'm consciously aware that I'm doing it now. I think I'm beginning to see a bigger picture than I ever have before, not only with Lily, but also my life ahead. The chains of my past are finally breaking. Yeah. Next day. Yes. Katawa Shoujo. Walking up the now slightly more familiar corridor of the girls' dormitories, I can hear the faint sound of laughter coming from up ahead. It doesn't take long to identify the source of Lily's room, though the deep timbre of the female voice unmistakably belongs to her, but not to her sister. I rap my knuckles on the door with the usual 3 light taps, my hand barely retreating as the door swings open. Hey, Hisao! Hey, hello, Lily, Hanako. Hanako looks up tentatively, her hands buried in her oversized pink gown. From her side, Lily turns sideways towards the direction of my voice and smiles. It would be a flagrant lie to say I dislike the sight of her in those pajamas. I catch Akari giving me a sidelong look with a knowing grin, to which I reply with a sharp glare. She takes the hint, shrugs, and walks back to the low table in the center of the room. As I go to join her, Lily gives me a nod of greeting and starts pouring me a cup of tea. It's nice to see you again, Hanako. You've been getting around recently. Lily, wearing a look of concentration as the light brown liquid carefully measured by her finger, as always, flows from the teapot into the cup. It seems Hanako has taken up helping one of the people in your class with the newspaper club. Naomi, I think. Who's Naomi? Hanako gives an affirmative nod. Even after spending about 2 months in the class, I still have trouble remembering the names of those students I rarely talk with. It takes me a few mental contortions to connect the name with a face, but I eventually remember the girl that sits beside Hanako at the back of the class. Naomi Inoue, a fairly average-looking girl except for her bleached blonde hair. Given her upbeat and straightforward personality, Naomi may have seen an open to poach Hanako for her club while she inquired about joining one. Either way, it's nice to see Hanako broadening her horizons. When I first met her, the idea of her joining a club with anyone but Lily would have seemed utterly laughable. That explained how busy you've been. Enjoying it? It's really interesting. As always, Hanako is far from being talkative. Some things never change, and it seems that Hanako's personality is one of them. She'll likely always be one to shy away from being overly social. Warned by the sound of crockery against the table as Lily gently places my drink in front of me, I thank her and take a long sip. Hanako and Lily are attending to their own, and Akari is quaffing a mug of strong-smelling black coffee. You're a lucky bastard, Hisao. Huh? I can't help grimace at her teasing smile, still visible around the edges of the mug presented to her lips. Seeing my sister in her pajamas, there's a lot of men out there who'd like to be where you are. I've seen a lot more than that of her. Not that I'd admit it. Akari. Hey, I'm just teasing. She leans over to me as much as she can, whispering with a sly grin written on her face. And Hanako too, you perv. Shut up. Hey, it was her idea. We both look over to her face turned to the ground and her hands fidgeting in the lap of her nightgown. If it's Hisao, I don't mind. This could be bad. I know Hanako's altogether too innocent to bother reading too much into such a thing, but the expression Akari directs at me is positively stormy. Akari, please. It seems Lily can sense Akari's sudden change in aura just as well as I, even without seeing it for herself. Akari slowly looks away from me, like an attack dog. Like an attack dog leashed by its owner on the nick of time. I breathe a sigh of relief. I can't think of a more appropriate time to try and change topics than around now. If you don't mind me asking, Akari, what do you do for a living? I've never seen you out of that suit. thinking about what to do with yourself after school's over, eh? I'm a lawyer for the most part. I work in the legal department of the Japanese branch of our family's company. The most boring possible answer, I suppose. Law's a pretty dirty topic to most people. Kinda. Oi, you're not supposed to agree. Lily gives an amused giggle while holding her teacup and saucer. Hanako quickly joins her. This friendly atmosphere between everyone is something I'd missed while Lily and Akari were on their trip. While the dealings I had with Hanako didn't help, I think just not having Lily around changes the mood. It's nice to be back. I missed you. Hisao, and you too, Hanako. Same goes for the both of us. I'm guessing your classmates were happy to see you back. In a manner of speaking, yes. Akari's amused snort shows she's well aware of Lily's attitude towards such figures of speech. I imagine she'd have to be, given how long they've been together. Did you have fun in Scotland? For a moment, I wonder why she's asking. If having been quite a while, having been quite a while since they came back. But then I remember everything that happened. We've simply not had time to look back. What with the exams and our Hokkaido trip. Lily's face goes distant for a moment, and the fact that Akari's first reaction to this, to look over to her sister doesn't escape me. Nonetheless, she quickly collects herself. It was nice. We hadn't met our family in such a long time, so it was a wonderful reunion. Really, yeah, I guess that's right. Their house being beachside was the best part, though. From her dismissive tone, I get the feeling Akari doesn't like their family as much as Lily does. He only liked that because he finally had time to play around. Just cause I'm the better swimmer. I don't take after the athletic side of the family, that's all. Well, you can take heart in the fact that you got the height genes at least. And the bust genes. That's not really the kind of thing to say around others. Though Lily pretends to scold Akari, she does so with an unmistakable, slightly cheeky grin on her face. I doubt Akari really minds that, judging from her nonchalant expression. Well, I don't either. Hanako's looking down and blushing furiously besides me. The sisters' antics aside, their parents really do lead a bourgeois lifestyle. It seems utterly divorced from the life that Lily and Akari have lived until now. I suppose practicality must have made the decision for them. To have come from such a wealthy and well-connected lineage only adds to the almost noble air Lily seems to have, though it's a small wonder none of it seems to have rubbed off onto Akari. They really are as little alike as siblings could be. Their only similarities seem to be their shared confidence, which can be both endearing and a headache at times. Okay. Most of the night continues much the same, with Hanako eventually leaving the Sato sisters and me to ourselves as she heads back to her dorm room for a rest. For a while, only the barely audible sounds from Lily's teacup and saucer can occasionally be heard. As she slowly drinks, the silence is strained as Lily and I wait for the elephant in the room to be addressed. So, Lily dutifully puts her cup down, giving her sister her undivided attention. With Lily and me on one side of the low table and Akari on the other, this almost feels like a judge passing down a verdict. I hear that you two are going out now. I glance sideways at Lily to confirm her as the source of Akari's knowledge. She gives a gentle nod to Akari, which I mirror in affirmation. Deciding that this is the proper time and place to do so, and Akari being the closest figure to a parent Lily's had for much of her life, I bow deeply with my hands on the floor before me and my head very nearly the same. I'll take good care of your sister, Akari, I promise. See, he's a lovely young gentleman. She must have heard my voice coming from a lower position than usual. I slowly bring myself back up, my eyes tentatively looking to Akari from under my brow. To tell the truth, I very much doubt my suited judge will raise an objection. She's very definitely the type to make her disapproval with others well known, something that leads her a measure of respect in my eyes. The old-fashioned kind, huh? Well, he's the kind of person I guess you'd go for. I don't have a problem with it, and I wish you two the best. Even if I didn't like it, I couldn't really do anything anyway. I offer a nod of appreciation to her as Lily gives a small sigh of relief. Likely most out of duty than any actual belief. Akari might have had any problems with us being together. I do wonder though, how's the rest of the family taking it, particularly the part residing at Yamaku? Have you told her? Smiles turn to grimace as Akari grins downright evilly. Those closest know how to twist the knife best, after all. Putting up with it may be the best terms of for the situation. Don't you agree, Hisao? Yeah, that sounds about right. At least she's being reasonable about it. Good to hear. That girl can be a handful at the best of times. We sent a few messages back and forth during and just after the trip, and she was already busting my chops for seeing my boyfriend when we came back after leaving Hideaki for so long. She really does care for the little guy. I cast my mind to Shizune's old reaction after telling her about our relationship, but decide not to bring it up. It's no doubt simply born of their mutual antipathy, and Akari's comments only back that up. Well then, it's settled. Gotta get to work early tomorrow, so I'd better be off. She rises from the table with a grunt, her hand on her knee to push herself up. I just noticed Akari's eyes lingering on Lily for a couple of seconds before turning away, as she begins to take her leave. After she walks out the door, she stops and looks up thoughtfully, before turning to us one last time. Oh yeah, I almost forgot to tell you. Use protection every time. I gag violently on the tea in my mouth. Contrary to my own, Lily's composure holds perfectly as she seems entirely unfazed. I'm kind of impressed. We are, don't worry. Atta girl, see ya. No. And with that, she turns and strides away, a hand held high as she disappears into the darkened hallway, closing the door behind her. The most reaction I can muster is flopping forward onto the table, completely drained of energy and truly exhausted by her. Lily's ability to hold her own against that suited devil is something I admire. She really is incredibly blunt. I don't think I'll ever be able to keep up with your sister's energy. As I feel Lily's soft hand come to rest on my own, I roll my head to the side to see her gently smiling for a long time. We simply sit beside each other, silently. Given her unquestionably unusual heights, she is pretty much exactly as tall as I am, probably a couple of centimeters higher, or if anything. Like this, she appears even taller. The feeling of her pale, soft hand against mine is a pleasant one, as is the sight of the thin, silken pajamas she wears, showing her curves and collarbone. Okay. You do get on well, though, even if you do say that. I guess, you two are a lot more alike than I first thought when we met. Then it's a good thing I quickly stopped you from going after her, isn't it? Though she jokes about it, my assessment of my inability to keep up with Akari either physically or mentally was quite in earnest. Lily's slow-paced and ladylike, almost motherly nature is perhaps the single thing that helped me most in my first week at Yamaku. Come to think of it, wait, since when were we using protection? As I give a curious look to my side, Lily's cheeks puff out as she huffs at me. Unlike you, I remember the packet is in the cupboard next to the sink. So I'm not the only one of us that takes a pill in hindsight. I feel rather thoughtless for not remembering at all and leaving it to Lily. Looking over to the cupboard she mentions, I notice again, the knee-high piles of books around us that were here, and the other times I'd visited. For the most part, they're lined up against the wall to give a little more room around the table. Oh, why don't you get a bookshelf for your books? It's odd to see books just piled around, especially given that your room looks so neat and orderly otherwise. They're easier to find this way. I know exactly which pile each book is in. Wouldn't you still know that after putting each set on a different shelf? That may be, but she's not immune to bouts of laziness after all. You have so many of them. It's kind of a shame we can't share our book sets, despite both of us reading so much. She gives a short giggle. Come to think of it, why do you order your books through Yuko? I imagine there'd be plenty of sites that you could order books in Braille from, especially English Braille. There are a lot of text-to-speech programs too. She turns her head slightly away from me, which strikes me as somewhat surprising. I'm just not all that good with computers. I'm alright with typewriters and braillers, but that's about it. Her tone almost makes me chuckle. She's a prideful person, so admitting something like that must be difficult. So Lily's a low-tech kind of person. Given her old-fashioned personality, it's not really a stunning surprise. I wouldn't worry about it. A lot of people aren't really that good with them, so it's not that usual. That usual? Now she's even more depressed. It feels like I'm twisting the knife, rather than healing her wounds. With a bit of squirming, I shuffle my way closer to her attentively, putting one hand around her waist to hug her. I'm still not really used to this kind of physical attention, but Lily seems to like it too. Or like it, okay. Ooh, okay. Let me hide this. It's another CG! Yay! We got another one, okay. Lily smiles as she turns to face me, a kiss before the reward for giving in to her. She draws me in, brushing my upper lip with hers before pressing against both. This way, every one of my senses is filled with her. The barely perceptible scent of her hair, her taste as her tongue fleetingly touches mine, the tenderness of her lips, the image of her filling my mind, the total silence apart from her faint breath. We may have kissed before, but even if this is more a kiss of simple affection than anything, it's still a new and pleasant sensation. Judging from her vivid blush as she pulls back, it's obvious she feels the same as I do. Even if we're entirely alone, it still feels a little embarrassing to open up to each other this much. If we take everything day by day, I think that would be for the best. Small steps, right? Yeah, just small steps. We have plenty of time to be together. Even after the school year is over, as long as we move together, I think everything will be will work out okay. Neither of us is going anywhere soon, after all. For now, I'm just thankful to this small moment in time we can spend together. Okay. Lily comes into view soon after the bell heralding the end of the school day rings out. She says farewell to a number of her classmates, heading in the other direction before beginning her weekly trip to the convenience store. Afternoon, Lily. The immediate warm smile and relaxed demeanor she assumes upon noticing my presence and unexpectedly welcome. Hello, Hisao. Good afternoon to you. She hesitates for a second, but eventually, Dean's... What? Day? I don't know. Tilt her face towards the forwards and close her eyes. But lift me hers with a measure of slight trepidation before we move off hands in hand. The fact that we were so close in height is somewhat useful at times. There being no need for either of us to turn our head upwards nor downwards in order to meet the others. It doesn't take much time to leave the nose of the other students far behind us. The tapping of Lily's cane in her free hand, the only sound to be heard. Silence, blissful silence, is all that greets us while we slowly walk in the setting sun's light. I think I'm coming to really like this town. The huge green hilly expanse, the trees everywhere, the somewhat rustic little buildings. So you've come to appreciate the tranquility of it as well. I think so. I came from a metropolitan city near Tokyo, so the quiet of this town really alienated me when I first arrived. After a while, it became really nice. Really nice, though. I think I prefer it to be hustle and bustle of my home city now. While I preferred the quiet of such a rural town, even when I first arrived, I suppose I had the advantage of growing up in a quiet area before I came. Hanako said the surroundings are very pretty too. Lily may say such a thing quite easily, but each time she mentions how others describe sights around her as beautiful or pretty, I feel a little put off. I notice her expression becoming one of anticipation for some question or another. She always had a good sense for when somebody's not saying something that's on her mind, so I may as well speak up. I was kind of wondering how to put this. Do you ever regret that you can't see what things look like for yourself? It's just something I've been thinking about. Since she thinks carefully for a time. Do you ever regret that you can't hear people whispering on the other side of the room? I can only speak for myself, but the fact that I can't see is the only way I've experienced life. Just as I cannot do something you can't do something that I'm capable of. The fact that the world is made for those who are sighted can be a pain sometimes, but there are many people who suffer much more than I because of the way the world is. That does make sense, but still, it just feels kind of bad to describe something that you can't experience here. She tilts her head quizzically as if she just said something that makes very little sense at all. But I can experience it. You just said yourself that you like this area because of the way the surroundings are. I like this area for the very same reason. Thanks to the fact that this is a small rustic town surrounded by trees, it gives some peace and quiet. It gives some peace and quiet from the din at school and the bustle. Not to mention the smell of the city. I suppose it would also be much like the home she shared with Akari as well. Her outlook on it seems pretty sensible, and I'm not surprised that she's got a much better handle on her particular condition than I do on mine. Just like her coming from a localization somewhere similar to Yamaku's surroundings, let her become more acclimatized in a shorter time. Being born blind affected her stance by her own admission. I should stop being so annoyed with myself over it. But I can't shake the feeling that I've depended on Lily far too much given the circumstances most have had to deal with in Yamaku. That makes a lot of sense. You're pretty good at explaining as well. Come to think of it, where is Hanako anyway? She was with us for lunch. It seems she's busy studying. The exams are far from over. And she said she wants to do better this year than last. Well, I admire her work ethic. She's really been trying to give us a lot of room alone recently. She's that type of person, I think. The kind that puts others' needs above her own at every chance. She's a sweet girl, even though so much has hurt her in the past. I don't know. I feel like it's only now when she's less close to me than ever that she's truly finding herself. It was thanks to you that she's began to become more confident after all, not me. I take my hand from hers and gently place it on her head. The important thing is that you were there for her. I can't even imagine what she'd be like without having found someone like you. That much became obvious while you were in Scotland. We're all still friends, so we've just got to have faith in her. I think she'll become a good person, and that much is thanks to you being there for her when she most needed it, just as you were there for me. It makes me feel a bit childish when you sound so wise. Well, I try. Are you doing anything on the weekend by any chance? Nothing that comes to mind. Why? Then how about a date on Sunday? It'd be something to do besides exam preparation. Countering my rapidly beating heart, she simply smiles and nods. That would be lovely. Where would you like to go? Her face suddenly changes to one of disapproval. You can't do that, Hisao. That's cheating. Do what? A gentleman should never ask a lady where to have a date. Her smile quickly comes back, assuring me that she's far from serious. Don't worry about it. I'll think about where we could go. I'll leave it to you then. I promise to decide on the next date though. With our plans for the weekend made, the rest of the walk down the hill continues in silence. The prospect of that lasting for any length of time, however, is shattered as I catch sight of a familiar figure waiting for us, her hand held high. Yo! Why are you here, Akari? Thank you. Please come again. The change in temperature as I step outside from the convenience store sends a chill up my spine. It feels like summer's starting to wind down. Looking to my side, the same feeling seems to affect Lily as well. Though, unlike me, she doesn't manage to hide the fact. Something I didn't realize at first was how physically delicate she is, even compared to the likes of Hanako. If I had to describe her, I'd have to say that she reminds me of a China doll. Akari walks up behind her and gives a couple of hard pats on her shoulder. Much to Lily's consternation, for a moment she looks as envious as my status as an old child as I am for the close relationship. They talk between themselves for a few moments as I sort out my bags. Their voices too low for me to catch, but eventually they break off and we begin to walk back to the school. It feels good to be out of the damned office. You kids don't know how good you have it here. Kids? You too then. Kids grow up so fast nowadays. You're not old enough to say that. I don't know. Being around Hideaki makes me feel damned old. He's so precious. He reminds me of you when you were younger. He's a nice boy. It would be a shame if Shizune comes to have too much of an influence on him. Akari gives an amused snort at her sister's antipathy. She really doesn't seem to regard it as anything to make a serious fuss about, treating it more like a childhood spat. She looks over to me, apparently only just remembering that I'm here, and gives a small grin as she reaches towards her back pocket. What is it? Just a sec, let me dig it out. After quite some difficulty, she manages to retrieve her black leather wallet from her back pocket, quickly fishing out what looks to be folded squares of paper. With Lily all but unaware of what's happening, Akari unfolds the scrap and hands it to me. It's a picture. From where? There's Lily, and there's Shizune. Okay. An old photo of what looks to be a younger Lily and Shizune operating a noodle stall with some other girl in the background. She looks vaguely familiar, but I can't quite pinpoint it. What is it, Akari? I think you know. Lily mulls this over for a few moments before realization dawned on her. Akari, you really needn't. It's fine, isn't it? Besides, it's like the only photo I have of you two since entering Yamaku, where you're not at each other's throats. I look back down to the photo in my hand. It does seem strange to see Lily and Shizune working together so diligently, without any sign of animosity. If the photos of them during Yamaku Festival, that means it must have been taken 1 or 2 years ago. In other words, the time when they were both in the student council together. Who's the girl in the back? She looks kind of familiar. Ha, I knew you wouldn't recognize her. It's Misha. Okay, never mind. Okay, that's Misha. Okay. Damn, bro. Misha looks kind of sus. Okay. Before she went and dyed her hair pink. That's Misha? No way! It feels extremely strange to see Misha without her so distinctive hairstyle. Judging from Akari's tone, she doesn't take favorably to Misha's idea of fashion. I suppose that fact just accentuates how odd the situation looks. To think they were so friendly in the past, I wish I could do something to mend their relationship. You're being very quiet, Hisao. It just feels kinda strange to see you all so friendly like this. Lily moves to say something, but stops herself in the end. This is a matter for me. It's between Shizune and Lily, and nobody else. Things change, unfortunately. I hand the photo back to Akari, who sighs as she folds it up and slides it back into her wallet. A little memory quietly hidden away to be pulled out again sometime later. Yeah, that they do. Initially, I think Akari's reaction to be simply in response to the situation between Lily and Shizune, but she looks oddly glum compared to what I'd expect. Lily's expression has clouded as well. What's wrong? It's just that I'll be going to Scotland fairly soon. You're leaving for Scotland again? For a long moment, Akari looks surprised. It's an ill-fitting expression for her. After a glance at Lily, she turns back to me as if she'd never done so. Yeah, in a couple of weeks, I'll be leaving for Inverness to work at the company headquarters. It's a pretty big jump in corporate position, and there's not a chance that's going to come again. So Akari's going to leave Japan on what seems to be a permanent basis. I can't help feeling that my assumption that we could all happily while away our days, okay? Having fun in this isolated little world is coming to an end. It's unsettling. I look at Lily, mildly surprised that she hasn't told me such a thing, despite usually being so forthcoming. She continues to walk with her face fixedly pointed ahead. I can't read her expression, nor can I even guess what's on her mind, what she's discomforting, given how it's usually easy for me to do both. It reminds me of the time when we met at the Shanghai, just before what could be called our first date. At the time, all I could do was comfort her without knowing the cause, and now feels no different. As we finally reach the school dormitories, once again, there's a somewhat awkward silence. I don't think I'm the only one who feels it. See you tomorrow then, Lily. Bye, Akari. Good night, Hisao. See ya. And with that, they walk to the female dormitories. Opening the door to the male dormitories, I stop and look back at them, just moments before their figures disappear behind the heavy wooden door. That was a strange moment when Akari said she was leaving. While that wasn't the first time when my thoughts regarding my new life have been called into question, it's perhaps the first time to do it quite so profoundly. I still don't know what to make of Akari's reaction, much less of Lily's. The night's chill reminded me to get back to my room before I catch something. My bags pulling down on my arms with seemingly redoubled weight. Okay. If nothing else, I have a date with her set up for the weekend. I just need to stop overthinking stuff and get on with things as they are. The exams are still ongoing after all, and with the trimester's end and the summer holidays beginning soon, there'll be plenty to keep me busy for a while. As I give a yawn and retreat inside, my thoughts turn to what Lily will decide to set as the location of our weekend rendezvous. Okay. Wow. That was a lot of reading. My throat hurts. Mention the letter. That's the last choice I have to make. I believe that has to do with the letter that we... Oh, okay. I believe that has to do with the letter that we received from the mysterious girl. Unless between the time we'll get another letter. But hold up, let me go back to the main menu. And then check this out. The library. Go to Lily. Let's see how much I've got. So that's Act 2. And then Act 3. Then Act 4. Still a lot left. I've only done 4 parts. It's only this much, okay? 4 here. It says back at the school, the events of Hokkaido come to forth. Okay. Out and about. Hisao and Lily go on the first date. So that's where I'm at right now. They're about to go on the first date. There's still a lot left though. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, 7 and 8, 9. That's 9 right there. Okay, well guys, I am going to end the video there. Yeah, so I hope you enjoyed it. Let me go to the gallery real quick. So, Lily's page is right here. Look how much pictures I've unlocked right here. And then there's these also. But yeah guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. And of course, I will see you guys in the next video, which I'm hoping will be the last one, but I highly doubt it. You know, considering how long this game is, like, I've only managed to do, like, 4 days. When I came over here, it's only this much. I started Act 4 at the beginning. I was right here. And then now, look, 4. That's about it. Yeah, there's 9. This is probably not gonna be the next video. I keep saying that, but either way, guys. Oh, I just now realized, these are the acts. These are the pictures for the acts, okay? But either way, guys, peace out and bye-bye.